Salamat Peggy. Bonjour tout le monde and welcome to the Canadian Energy Conversation. My name is Charles Reeves and I am the Acting High Commissioner of Canada and Malaysia. Before we begin, I would like to thank the Malaysian Ministry of Energy and Water, as well as the Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Center for providing a platform for us to have this important conversation. IGEM allows Canada and Malaysia to share expertise and ideas on sustainability, as well as foster stronger economic partnerships. And those are the outcomes that I hope for today. I would also like to thank all of you for joining us this morning. Although we are not physically together, your presence demonstrates our shared priorities on the issues that concern us the most: climate change, sustainable waste management, and how to shift to a low carbon energy economy. Our conversation today will explore some of the best solutions to the common challenges that we face. Let me kick off this conversation by stating the obvious. The world needs energy. Energy consumption is directly related to almost every measurable metric for quality of life. And I'm not just talking about wealth and employment. Quality of life means physical and mental health, education, recreation and leisure time, and social belonging. Canadians probably know this better than anyone else. Canadians consume more energy per household than most of the developed world. We use energy to heat our homes in the winter, to play ice hockey in the summer, to travel, to keep our food fresh, and our devices charged. Malaysians know this too. Asia Pacific has had the most dramatic increase in energy consumption the world has ever seen. A 12-fold increase since 1965. As more and more people lead better lives, the global demand for energy increases. So the Canadian energy conversation is not about less energy, because energy does not necessarily have to be a finite resource. The conversation is, how can we be more creative and more responsible about where our energy comes from? I'm excited to introduce you to today's experts from 3 Canadian companies that are changing the way the world thinks about sustainable energy. Leading the conversation on waste to energy is Kunal Shah from Energia. Energia is tackling the global challenge of recovering energy, water, and fertilizer from virtually any waste system. Leading the conversation on biogas is Carolyn Bailey from Quadragen. Quadragen builds customized cleanup systems that convert industrial and agricultural waste gas into clean energy, effectively limiting the amount of harmful gases spread into the atmosphere. And leading the conversation on solar power is John Lee from Canadian Solar. Canadian Solar is paving the way to bring electricity powered by the sun to millions of people worldwide. I hope that this hour-long session will leave you inspired by the possibilities represented by Canadian energy technology. Of course, the Canadian energy conversation does not end with this webinar. Please leave your comments and questions in the message box, and our speakers and I will be happy to continue this discussion with you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup et terima kasih.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kunal here, Managing Director for Energia in Asia. I'm based out of Singapore. Thanks IGEM and the High Commission of Canada for having us to make this presentation on sustainable solutions for waste management in Malaysia. I will now quickly share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to talk today about sustainable waste management solution in Malaysia. Actually, waste management is a very big topic being talked about not only in Asia but across the world. Solid waste management is an interesting sector. This sector not only touches the social infrastructure sector, which is the waste management itself for cities. However, it also touches the environmental sector because it is important for the hygiene and cleanliness of a city. It also touches renewable energy because waste could be a source of energy, either in the form of power or in the form of biogas, and it could help in the entire circular economy network of any country. As I mentioned, Energia, we are a global company with Asian headquarters in Singapore. We as a company are a leading company on treating any kind of organic waste, whether it be wastewater sludge, so basically in the water consortium sludge, food waste, MSW, which is solid waste, food processing waste like waste from food and beverage industry, dairy, and agriculture waste like chicken manure, cow manure, and any other kind of agriculture waste. Through a series and a proprietary portfolio of solutions, we convert that either into renewable power, renewable natural gas, recyclables, fertilizer, and clean water. As I was saying, we are a Canadian Toronto headquartered company, and then we are present almost in about 4 continents with 10 offices. We have so far completed about 1,600 plus bioenergy projects across the world. Our roots are coming from Germany, Italy, and Holland, where we have manufacturing facilities. We have office in Cape Town covering Africa, and Singapore covers Asia Pac. In Asia, we all wonder and imagine that a company should also be local instead of being also only global. I think we are quite humble and proud that we are also based out of very locally in Asia, with marketing, engineering, project management, operation and maintenance, and after sales support services based out of Singapore. So we have completed some interesting projects in the region. We built India's first MBT based waste management facility in Goa. We finished a biogas plant in Japan. We are building one of the very large food waste treatment facility in Taiwan. We've done projects in China. Here in Singapore, we are running Singapore's first co-digestion facility, which treats food waste and wastewater sludge. We are also building a poultry litter manure to biogas project. And again, we have we have quite keen interest in developing waste projects in Malaysia. These are some of the references of our anaerobic digestion facilities across the world. Some of the MBT-based waste management facilities, Cape Town, UK, India, San Francisco, Cyprus. So let's talk about waste in Asia. I think we will probably agree to this fact that the waste in every city, every country, every province is quite different to any other city or province or region. That is the reason that waste solutions cannot be cookie cutter. They have to be tailor-made solutions. On our experience, the typical waste quality in Malaysia is about 45 to 50% organic waste. This increases during the festive season because a lot of eating happens outside the house. And the average calorific value generally is quite low. Everybody asks us that what is the right solution for waste management? In our humble opinion, we believe that there is not one right solution. Every city needs to have a tailor-made solution. And the solution or the technology to be adopted for a city's waste management depends on a lot of factors. Some of the factors are quality of waste, the quantity of waste. Is it 200 tons a day or is it 1,000 tons a day? What are the market drivers? Because ultimately economics have to work for a waste management facility. Are there tipping fees? What are the tipping fees? What are the feed-in tariffs? Is there a market for bio-CNG to fuel the trucks which deliver the waste across the city to the landfill or the waste management facility? Can those trucks be converted to bio-CNG? What is the regulation around flue gas treatment, wastewater treatment coming out of the plant? What is the treatment required for the hazardous fly ash, which is generated from an incinerator? What is the local lay of the land? I mean, do the people prefer an incinerator or they would prefer something different? What is comfortable to the investors? Which solution is comfortable? Usually they prefer proven solution. And last but not the least is what is the preference of the local government and the country's government? I quite categorically always mention that we always talk about waste to energy, but in my view, sometimes it is like waste of energy, because solid waste management is not waste to energy. Waste to energy is one part of the waste management process. There are many other aspects of a waste management process. The second question I have for everybody who's listening and joining this presentation is that, do we consider waste management to be just another commercial business in the infrastructure space, or it is something which is a human necessity? For example, we have in the water treatment plants, the wastewater treatment plants, they are funded by the federal government, sometimes the state governments, And they are considered very essential part of the infrastructure of Malaysia because they ensure hygiene, cleanliness, and sanitation and clean water. Similarly, can waste be also considered part of the social infrastructure? It is a million-dollar question, but I think across the world, generally, waste management is not just a means of IRR, but it is a process which is a basic necessity provided to all human beings. So what does Energia do? So our approach of waste management is the MBT approach, mechanical biological treatment, where we extract the organics from mixed waste, convert that into biogas and electricity. The remaining material we either convert to RDF to be co-burned in a cement kiln, or it can be incinerated in a co-located incineration plant. How we do it? I'll just play a small video. This is a 550 tons a day plant in Cyprus.
Almost everything we buy winds up in a landfill and is lost to society forever.
Imagine a world where garbage is a resource. Imagine a world where we can save our oceans while solving the global waste crisis. Imagine a world where we can give back to our planet its resources. You don't have to imagine it anymore. It is here, and we're doing it now. The Energia team has acquired, developed, and integrated technologies that allow to maximize revalorization of solid waste.
I'm Rob Murray. I'm the Vice President of Project Execution for Energia. I'm building projects around the world. The plant's fascinating to us from an engineering perspective because it uses state-of-the-art technologies to receive the trash and break it down into its fundamental components. The economics are helpful because the recycled materials can be sold, which helps offset the cost of operating the plant. Biogas generated from the organic portion of the trash being converted into electricity. Ultimately, the biological component becomes a fertilizer, which is reused in land application, and all the wastewater from the different areas of the plant is collected and treated and put through reverse osmosis, proving the concept that trash is a resource and the landfill is obsolete.
If you look at food waste and the amount of greenhouse gases produced by it around the world, it's actually as much as all of the transportation on the planet combined. We also lose the fertilizer value to restore depleted soils of both fertilizer and organic content.
Limassol had a big problem with the waste. 2 years ago, they were landfilling every waste that came. So we have been asked to make a plant that would treat the incoming waste and produce recyclables, secondary fuel, clean the air, clean water, and a very small percentage of waste still going to the landfill.
The waste comes to the plant from the municipal trucks. They're weighed before coming up to the plant to know exactly how much garbage we're receiving. And then they dump all their waste into a tipping pit. This is a large bunker where we can store the garbage and process it. From this pit, we have 2 overhead grapples that collect the waste and send it into the first step of the process, the bag openers. Most of our waste comes in garbage bags, so before we can access the waste inside to be able to treat it, we need to open those bags. Here we have pickers that take out specific items from the waste stream. We remove glass at this point. We remove long pieces of plastic film, electronic waste, medical waste. After the manual sorting, we have magnets which separate the large metallic pieces out of the waste. After these magnets, we have machines called disc screens. The disc screens serve to separate the organic material. Waste smaller than a pre-programmed size falls beneath. So this is a way of separating the waste by size.
Like other plants, we have separation equipment that allows to efficiently remove the recyclables from the waste, such as plastics, metals, paper, glass, and the RDF, SRF. Unlike other plants, we have the RX that extracts up to 95% of.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you see, you will see it's very common in the world to have separation equipments to make RDF. That's very common. I think the secret sauce or the proprietary technologies which Energia brings on the table is this technology of organic extrusion press. By this, what we are doing is that we are actually extracting organics from a mixed waste, taking out the organic and some of the moisture so that this organics can go to an anaerobic digestion facility to produce biogas. And the remaining material, which is now has higher calorific value, lower in quantity, can go to a co-located incinerator or for RDF production. Let's see how this ORX works.
Food waste from the garbage. The fertilizer.
Effectively separate the organics from the non-organic material. The way it works is a very high level of pressure is applied to the waste. Anything organic which is found in this waste is liquefied by the pressure. This paste is conveyed away for treatment and biogas production.
I'm sorry.
In Limassol, we only send 11% of the residual waste back to the landfill.
So in our approach, if you see, there are three approaches to waste management. And I think, again, everything needs to work on economics. The first approach is just an MBT approach where you take out the organics, make biogas and power, and you recover the recyclables and convert the remaining material into RDF. The second approach is an MBT followed by RDF incineration. But I think the most economical out of the one, which we believe based on our market analysis, is a simplified MBT, which is to remove organics before an incineration, take out the organics and make biogas and electricity, and everything else can be burned in an incinerator. So now you have a hybrid system where you have MBT followed by incineration. Your incineration is now smaller capacity, which means less amount of fly ash or the bottom ash produced. Smaller capacity means smaller capex. And you make power from biogas and you also make power from the incinerator. Okay. So this is also very interesting for, let's say, any city in Malaysia. For example, you have this MBT. Every MBT has an aerobic digestion system. Now, every city has wet market. In the water also makes septic sludge or wastewater sludge. Currently, it goes to the landfill. Now, that sludge, that septic sludge, could be bought to this integrated waste management facility where MSW goes through the MBT, extract organic. The wet market waste and the septic sludge can go directly to the digester, making more biogas. Because this is so wet, if you send it to the incinerator, it will make less power. It is very watery. And this is the integrated concept. So as we discussed, mechanical processing to remove recyclables, RDF, and then organic extrusion press to remove the organics and aerobic digestion to make biogas. This is the organic extrusion press which I was referring to, which is a proprietary system. Happy to talk about it. The way it works is applying a very high amount of pressure on mixed waste, separating the organic and the reject fraction. This reject fraction can then be sent to the incinerator. Now talking about our experience. So this was a facility we built in Goa in India. Very similar waste characteristics like Malaysia. Everything is mixed. This was an existing landfill which we biomined, and we converted that existing landfill area into a facility like this. As you can see, it's quite beautiful. There is no chimney, no flue gas. Waste comes in, biogas is generated. There is a composting facility. The RDF which is generated goes to the cement plant. This is a facility, as I mentioned to you, in Singapore. It's a co-digestion facility where we co-digest food waste and wastewater sludge. This is a facility in Cape Town, South Africa. This is a very large facility in Southeast Asia, which we are developing. The waste comes in the same bunker. It is segregated through the mechanical processing. From the ORX machine, the organics goes to the digester. The inorganic material, in this particular case, the inorganic material is converted into RDF, and the RDF is then sent to cement. This is North America's largest food waste processing facility, which we are about to commission early next year. And I welcome Anybody who's interested to learn more to come and visit this facility. This is near Los Angeles City in California. And here we are going to treat organics extracted from MSW from a transfer station. That organic is about 700 tons a day, 300 tons a day of wastewater sludge, and brought to the facility. In this facility, we produce some electricity, and majority we convert into renewable natural gas, which is injected into the natural gas pipeline. We also make a biochar fertilizer in this facility. This is going to be a very large facility. This is the plant I just showed you the video in Cyprus. This is the one which we are running now in the city of Toronto, about 220 tons a day of contaminated food waste. This is a facility near London in Cardiff. This is the facility I was telling you about, the hybrid concept. This is the one upcoming in Taiwan. Food waste and MSW comes in. Food waste is pre-treated, goes to the digester. The rejects of the food waste system goes to the co-located incineration plant. So this is a very interesting concept of co-locating MBT with incineration. This is a facility which we are looking at in another Southeast Asian country, 1,000 tons per day. The waste comes in the same bunker. It is passed through our MBT system. Organics are extracted to the digesters. All the inorganic material comes back to the same bunker. From this bunker, it goes to co-located incineration facility. So in the same facility, utilizing the synergies between MBT and incineration. Everybody will ask me, okay, everything is possible, but the cost is very important. I think you are right. Trust us that we don't want to be doing a system which is more expensive than conventional system. Our endeavor and our idea is that this hybrid concept is a concept which should be at least same price as a must-burn incinerator or lower. But the beauty of this is that this concept can handle variability in the waste quality. In monsoon season, the waste is very wet, calorific value is low. Using this system, it can lead to a very homogeneous flow to the incinerator. You don't need to segregate waste at home. I think all the waste as it is can come to the incineration, the treatment facility. This facility allows wet market waste, septic sludge to be treated without going through a whole process of incineration. I think it will enhance revenues because it will generate power from biogas and also from electricity from the incinerator. And then I think it has a smaller size incinerator, so lower capex, lower opex overall. The ash generated is very small, so disposal is less. And I think overall this facility creates more employment opportunities. There are manual sorting stations in the facility, and I think it is quote unquote more greener. As I mentioned, there is no magic solution for waste management. Ultimately, economics need to work. Right tipping fee, feed-in tariff, and all the economics around the waste management facility. Technology exists. I think people like us and others are interested to come and develop these projects in Malaysia, partner with local companies. However, the local economics need to be right in order to be built an atmosphere and an environment to create more waste management facilities for a country like Malaysia. Last but not the least is that, we believe that any technology should not be based on human behavior. I think we should look at multiple streams of revenue, a facility which has low environmental impact and which can be integrated with existing infrastructure. With this, I would say thank you and thanks for listening this virtual video recorded presentation. I will be happy to take any questions. However, with this interesting, uncertain times, we're not able to meet face to face. IGM has been organizing this very well. My email ID is there with the Trade Commission, with IGM. If anybody would like to get in touch with us, we are very happy to explore cooperation in Malaysia to do this waste management business. Thank you once again. Terima kasih.
Hi there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian Energy Conversation, which is an event hosted by the High Commission of Canada and Malaysia. My name is Carolyn Bailey, and I am Manager of Business Development with Quadrigen Power Systems, and we're based in Burnaby, British Columbia. So let me share my screen first with you guys. Okay, here. Okay, perfect. Let's put this on to the proper setting. All right, so today I'm just going to be talking a bit about our company, what we do, Malaysia's waste to energy market, some of the project highlights and applications that Quadrigen has been working on for the past several years, and also just to talk a bit about kind of the waste to energy market in terms of food waste and some of the projects that Quadrigen is aiming to pursue in the Malaysian market. So to begin with, we are a manufacturer of gas cleanup and upgrading solutions. So we are a clean tech manufacturer. We design, build, and install cost-effective, high-performance gas cleanup solutions for the industrial, agricultural, and renewable energy sectors. So our vision here is to help make our planet a bit greener by sustainable energy and finding value in the unexpected. For instance, things like converting biogas from landfill waste to valuable products and chemicals such as renewable natural gas and renewable heat and electricity. Our mission is to provide our customers with world-class gas cleanup products and services to convert waste gases into clean energy. And in terms of our company, we were founded in 2007 by our president and CEO, Alak Prasad. And the company has grown from initially a startup of 2 people out at the University of BC NRC building to currently actually 75 employees, 20 of which are based in our headquarters and here in Burnaby, and 50 at our manufacturing facilities in Pune, India. As mentioned earlier, we're a company providing gas cleanup and upgrading solutions. And some of our current markets, as you can see in the slide here, are for things like municipal wastewater treatment plants, landfills, solid separated organics, and agricultural waste. So things like dairy digesters, chicken manure, things like that. In terms of our partners and customers and some of our users here, you can see we've got Evonik Industries Air Products, a company called Fuel Cell Energy, and of course, Microsoft. And in terms of some of the awards and recognitions, we've been quite blessed. So the most up-to-date award that we received was the Business in Vancouver Award. We were ranked top 3 out of 100 possible companies in BC as the fastest growing in 2020. And also some of the other awards that we've been presented with earlier on was kind of the top 10 most promising startups. We've been awarded by the BC Bioenergy Network for one of our projects. And yeah, we continue to be recognized in the industry, so we're very blessed in that sense. So on this slide here, we're looking at some of our reference sites and some of our target markets around the world. So currently our research shows that the current biogas cleanup world is worth about $15 billion US. So we've got approximately 25 projects underway, majority of them in the US, in North America, a few in Europe. We've done a couple in China and one in Thailand, which I'll talk a bit more later on. So kind of focusing on wastewater treatment plants and agricultural digesters, things like that. We are currently actually quite interested in expanding in the Chinese market. So we have one of our colleagues actually working out of the Shanghai office, but very much utilizing the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service for a lot of our market expansion efforts, and they have been very helpful to us. So we're looking, obviously very interested in the Malaysia market. We're interested in Korea, Indonesia, as well as Australia. So in terms of the next slide, this is a bit of a slide talking about the biogas value chain here at Quadrigen. So like I mentioned before, our company's created a proprietary gas treatment integrated system that is able to take things like agricultural waste, food waste, wastewater treatment, and landfill and convert that into various sources. So you see in here that, after we clean up the gas, you can further, for example, use a biogas upgrading technology that we also have as well, to clean it up to such high ultra purity that it is suitable for the pipelines, for things like for vehicles, and injecting some of the gas to a fuel cell via electrolysis. We can make green hydrogen as well too. We're also able to produce things like carbon neutral CO2 for heating greenhouses, which is quite important in the agricultural industry. So some of our project highlights here. So the one on the left here, you'll notice, is the Orange County Sanitation District. So this one was done back in 2011. The project uses waste from biogas from the wastewater treatment plant out at Orange County to generate electricity that's renewable and also suitable for injection into the power grid. So for this particular project, we partnered up with Fuel Cell Energy to generate the clean electricity for the wastewater treatment plant. And also we were able to build a refueling station at the edge of the plant for fuel cell electric vehicles. So currently with this particular project, we have over 21,000 hours of operation and more than 25 million cubic feet of biogas that's been processed into hydrogen without any major maintenance requirements. And to the right of that, you'll see we have a project with the Microsoft. So that's with one of their data processing centers out in Wyoming, US. And this was commissioned back at the end of 2014. So basically for this one, the biogas is taken from a nearby Dry Creek water reclamation facility, is directed to the site and cleaned up to produce electricity in order to actually operate the processing center. So it is 100% green and meets the required level of contaminants. So the one to the far right is actually the most exciting one that we've got at the moment. It's called the Hex Generation project at Village Farms out in Delta, BC. So this is actually first of its kind in the world, where we're able to produce from landfill gases out in the Vancouver landfill and produce 6 different very valuable products, including renewable power and renewable heat, green hydrogen, renewable natural gas, which is fed into the Fortis BC pipeline, biodiesel, and also carbon neutral CO2 for the greenhouse, like I mentioned. So as some of you may know, BC is actually mandated to have 75% of their landfill gas collection efficiency, which is why landfills are partnering with greenhouses like Village Farms and kind of are very, supportive of projects such as ours. So we're hoping to eventually replicate that in other parts of the world and across North America. So here are some just photos of the site that we have out in Orange County Sanitation. Here's another photo of the Microsoft site out in Wyoming. And this is our newest. This is the Village Farms site here. So next, moving on to a bit about the Malaysians' waste to energy market. So currently, there is an issue, as most of you would know, with the increasing municipal solid waste in major urban cities around the world, including, those in Malaysia, which obviously has a negative impact on both the population's health and also the surrounding environment. So the waste often contaminates soil, groundwater, and also emits GHGs, which contributes to global warming and climate change. So dealing with these types of waste is gaining importance on both the local political agenda, as people and decision makers have become more sensitive to these sort of pollution and how it impacts the quality of life. So with this type of reality in mind, we see that Malaysia actually produces more than 1.6 billion cubic meters of biogas per year and has the potential to actually produce up to 15 billion cubic meters of biogas annually. So in addition to factors, like kind of expanding energy access and Malaysia's commitment to reducing GHG emissions by 45% by 2030, according to the Paris Agreement. The Malaysian government has also introduced several energy policies and economic incentives to further promote renewable energy. So, for instance, things like removing subsidies on petroleum and diesel by 2014. Green fuels have become more cost competitive and definitely taking an increasing share in Malaysia's energy mix. As a result, biogas production is definitely growing rapidly, and opportunities for biogas upgrading and utilization have become tremendous. Growth in the biogas upgrading sector is being reinforced with fiscal incentives such as the investment tax allowance. So this provides a 60% return on capital expenditures made by generation of renewable energy, and kind of soft loans as well to Malaysian companies that are looking to install equipment that is fit for renewable energy production. So with that in mind, there's also, as most of you are familiar with, the biogas and green fuels. So there's your country's economic transformation program, so the ETP, is working towards having biogas plants installed at all or most of its 447 palm oil mills with the biogas plants. And definitely there's a lot of fiscal incentives, like I mentioned before, and coupled with the fact of the Paris Agreement, there is a huge market opportunity here. So although there is that, so here's kind of Quadragen's RNG play and opportunity. Like I mentioned before, there's definitely growing global demand, and we've noticed as we're talking to customers that there's definitely Asia and Europe definitely very much so leading the way. There is an existing competition in the biogas upgrading sector. Even like it's quite early on what we've noticed, so there's a lot of market opportunities. So things kind of like industrial digesters, like palm oil, mill effluent, landfills, food waste, which I'll definitely expand on more later. There's a lot of opportunities there. Wastewater treatment plants, and of course, agricultural digesters. It is in these markets that we find our company can provide definitely a competitive advantage because we're scalable, it's cost effective, and it's kind of fairly easy to install in one sense. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our projects that we've been having here. So I mentioned before the Hex Generation Village Farms. So you'll notice that this is something that could be replicable around the world, as long as there's landfill, which there's plenty of. So you see here on the left, we take the landfill gas from the city of Vancouver. So it's kind of the raw landfill gas. It is fed through our integrated landfill gas cleanup system. And also our PSA, the pressure absorption, swing absorption system to create biomethane. There's other ways of producing green hydrogen through our fuel cell generator and a hydrogen booster. Yeah, so definitely 6 different variables we have here, and we're able to kind of replicate that. And this is our proprietary technology. It's a 4-step technology that our CEO has invented, and it's patented, where we condense the contaminants and kind of using to sub-zero cooling using our proprietary process. Then we kind of, further break down the elements into more known set of compounds and converted. So we capture the converted species and it's absorbed using we've got our very high capacity media for extra contaminant removal. And then finally, we polish it up and we're able to kind of have ultra clean gas, less than 30 ppb. So I've mentioned that already. And this is another interesting project that we've done, actually one of our first in China. This is at the Sun Paper Mill. So of course, again, with the assistance of the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, Quadragen was able to successfully install 2 biogas upgrading systems. This was in 2017 and a later one in 2018 at the Sun Paper Mill wastewater treatment plant in Shandong province. So each system is currently processing 30,000 MN3 per day of biogas derived from wastewater to produce renewable natural gas that is fit for pipeline specifications. And here is the second one, because some paper noticed that the return on investment was quite quickly. It was within 20 months. So they were quite impressed with that. And this is a project that we actually did in Thailand. So in November 2018, we delivered a biogas upgrading system for RE Biofuels in Kampong, Thailand, to upgrade biogas from actually tapioca starch mill effluent. The upgraded biogas was actually converted into vehicle-grade green biomethane, or what we also call as renewable natural gas. So to date, this is actually the largest biomethane project to have been installed and commissioned in all of Thailand, and provides fuel for more than 300 cars per day. So here's just a photo of our system here. That's our PSA system. Yeah, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about, food waste and some of other projects that we're trying to pursue in Malaysia. Yeah, so, in general, we're very familiar with, mall food and supermarkets, so what kind of food waste can actually create energy out of, like what we typically eat and kind of utilize every day. So things like kitchen trim, supermarket vegetables, meats, dairy products, starch, sugar, fruit, vegetable, things like napkins, tissues, paper towels, waxed paper, leaves, beverages, alcohol, soup, condiments, eggshells, glycerin, etc. So, imagine if we're able to actually install an on-site treatment, right? So what if we can actually install an on-site treatment system where we can kind of have a, decentralized treatment system for supermarkets, grocers, and small food waste. So it's practical, it's very easily scalable. The biogas can be used to make things like pipeline natural gas, like I mentioned before, or used on-site electricity, which would definitely lower GHG emissions. And there's also no need for waste to be collected and transported out, which is like one of the major issues and things that malls and kind of like food courts have to deal with. And it's added cost, and doesn't smell very nice either. So we're actually able to do that, definitely. So some of the benefits of the digester would be an ability to kind of reduce disposal, recycling, and energy costs simultaneously. We can minimally use the space requirements for either on-site or local mall-based systems. It's modular and it's very easily expandable if there's increase of waste. Definitely high performance. And some of the benefits of installing on-site biogas upgrading would be the ability to convert waste biogas and produce biomethane on-site for use in the mall. Minimal space requirements needed. Very quick modular deployment and easily expandable. So things like that. So kind of if you take a look here at the mall food waste solution that we've kind of come up with. So say if you have 600 kilograms a day of food waste, very easily, we can put it through the compact anaerobic digester, which creates the biogas. And then our company would come up with the biogas upgrading and cleanup solution that can be used to produce biomethane and also obviously compressed natural gas. So kind of a win-win situation here. So an example, we did a small example actually with our partner Impact Bioenergy, actually in the Seattle area back in 2019, where we've taken food waste and exactly did just that, put it through the anaerobic biodigester, cleaned it up, and we're able to kind of make pipeline natural gas. Yeah, so I guess finally, in terms of what we're doing in Malaysia, so what we would like to do is that we actually would like to be a part of Malaysia's way to meet its renewable energy targets and GHG emission reduction goals across several industry, including a focus on kind of palm oil by providing solutions to produce renewable natural gas and biodiesel from biogas. So, things, pretty much right up until late last year and early 2020, we've actually traveled to Malaysia in order to kind of create new project opportunities with potential partners and clients, which I've listed here. So, we've met with a company called Green Bio Synergy. This is where we explored potential projects to kind of in Kuala Lumpur, actually, and with financing potentially from Malaysia to kind of upgrade landfill gas into renewable natural gas via a three-way consortium. Another company we met with is FGV Palm Industries. They're known as one of the world's largest palm oil producers based in Kuala Lumpur. So they are interested in Quadragen's technology as well, especially, kind of the operation and the maintenance for producing biomethane and bio CNG from the biogas. Also met with Sakti Surya, and these guys are, we actually met with them at the Biogas Asia Pacific Forum back in October, I believe, of 2019. And we talked about potential projects kind of to harness the energy of biogas from palm oil mill operations to produce renewable natural gas as well. Have the opportunity to meet with Concord Green Energy at the forum as well to kind of discuss potential for biogas upgrade for vehicle fueling. And definitely at Globe 2020, we were fortunate enough to meet with Green Tech Malaysia, the government agency that I mentioned earlier, that's able to provide financing schemes and incentives for accelerating the expansion of our green projects. Yeah, so we've been, trying to kind of very much so continue the discussion, but that was kind of placed at a halt when at the beginning of COVID, as we're limited in terms of international travel. But given that there's now virtual forums such as iGEM and others as well, we're starting to kind of revisit the discussion and to see if we can kind of move forward with this. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. It's been an honor to talk a bit about what Quadragen does and some of the potential that can be for Malaysian projects. Please feel free to reach out to us. My name again is Carolyn Bailey. I've got my email here and also our office phone number. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Lee from Korea, and I'm going to be in Singapore soon. So I'm very glad to meet you, and it's my pleasure and it's my honor to be invited for IGEM 2020 as a speaker. I'm very happy to share the idea of the solar market and what we are doing in Malaysia. So basically, I'm leading the Canadian solar business development in Southeast Asia. And personally, I have more than 15 years experience in solar sectors and in diverse countries like Japan, Korea, China, Vietnam, and Malaysia. So most of my life in solar business is focusing in Asia. So basically today, I would like to introduce generally what the market is, and then come to the Malaysian market, and then explain a little bit more what and how Canadian Solar is doing in Malaysia. So to start, let me give you one funny story. I started my solar business in 2006, and maybe some of you guys already remember that. Do you know what the biggest solar manufacturing, the panel manufacturing country and company in the world was in 2006? It was Sharp from Japan in 2006, #1 module manufacturer, which the capacity was 80 megawatt. So 80 megawatt, not gigawatt. So after 15 years, you see a dramatic growth of the market. Even these days, when you see the tier 1 companies in the world, more than 10 gigawatt size easily you can find. So imagine for 15 years, more than 100 times bigger capacity per companies are there. This means that the demand, the market grows up so fast, and still it's growing up. So welcome to the most exciting industry in the world. So from my experience, I don't find any year less than growth of the 20%. So the market of solar is growing up 20, 30% every year. Even these days on the pandemic, you may heard there's a shortage of modules, which means there are a lot of demands in the world and people are looking for more modules in the world. So what does it mean? The demand on power supply, especially from the renewable energies, solar sectors, it's so strong. Personally, I believe this kind of growth will be continued more than at least 5 years, or next to 10 years, it's gonna be grow up. So when we go back to the history again, in early 2000, so far as I remember, Germany and Japan started to commercialize the PV solar power systems in the real world. So the real power plant was installed at the time, so commercially successful. And Germany had a good example with strong FIT program supported. And next to Germany, Japan had a great success. And you all remember that next to Japan, the United States come, and then China became one of the biggest market in the world. So when you see those countries, developed countries mostly in Europe, in Japan, in the America, and China, every year 60, 70 gigawatt new power plant is installed. So here the question is not about the history, but my question is, okay, what or which country is going to be the next? From Canadian solar point of view, we are quite strong and we have really good market share in United States, Europe, and Japan. So the next question actually is, where is the next opportunities? You may have the answer already. That's Asia and Africa. One good kind of point in these two kind of continents is that it's a bit different. So personally, I believe Asia is going to be much faster than Africa in terms of the new installations. And definitely that's why I am here, and that's why the Canadian Solar is here. So come back to the Asian market. You see China is there, already huge market. And Japan, very matured market. So there are a lot of references in Japan and quite successful. Korea, Taiwan is growing up and strong government support. And what else? What about the Asian countries? I have experience of solar power plant installation in Vietnam and Malaysia. And somebody asked me why Vietnam and Malaysia. It's very simple. To choose a country to invest and to go into and make a good business, normally I emphasize three kind of things to check. The first is the country having a demand of the power supply, especially the renewable energy power supply. If there's a country who does not need any power, there's no demand of the power plant installation, and that means there's no market for me. So first I see where the demand is, and you can see some countries with strong demands, such as Vietnam and Malaysia. The second point is that can you satisfy financial institutions? Because solar power plant always require strong capitals. You need investment. So this is about the financial institutions' role. And normally the bankers, fund managers, or investors, they're always asking same questions. mostly about the risk points, creditabilities, and returns kind of things. But simply to say, if you can satisfy those financial institutions, especially global ones, I dare to say more than 50% success rate is going up. The third point is that do you have experienced or reliable local partner in that market? If you see a demand, strong demand, and also if you can find, you can satisfy the financial institutions, but if you don't have any local partners, I think the success ratio is dropping down. That's what I learned from my experience, and that's also what Canadian Solar learned from the global experience. Considering these about 3 categories, there's no reason not to come to Malaysia. When you see the Malaysian government, the demand is quite strong. So you call it messy, that's the plan, the Malaysian energy supply industries, it's some 2000 version. And it says that by 2025, the government is targeting about 20% power supply from renewable energy and eager to do it, which means that there's strong demand from the government side. So far as I remember, in 2018, the ratio was 2%. So still 18 to 15% remaining to meet the target. That's why Malaysian government is announcing new programs every day, and I'm considering a lot of good promotions kind of things. In terms of the global financial institutions, I've never heard any financial institution say no about the Malaysia. So Malaysia as a country is a good country to invest for the global financial institutions. It makes me comfortable when I bring an opportunity of Malaysian project. It's much easier to discuss with those guys. That's the strong kind of benefit of Malaysia. The third one, the last but not the least, is the local partners. Some countries at the beginning, like Vietnam, I had some problem because the local EPC companies or the local developer, they didn't have any experience at that time. So spend much more time just to teach them and then guide them how to install kind of things. Now the Vietnamese, they do much, much better than 2-3 years ago. But at the beginning, it was really hard time to give the knowledge experience to the local partners. In Malaysia, I'm very happy that it's easy to find very reliable and expertise and partners there. Not only the developers, but also EPC companies, I see very global standard expertise and experienced ones there. So the only thing we can do is every day meet the partners, discuss about how to increase the qualities, something like that. As a developer, working with the reliable partners, it's a great happiness. And Malaysia is providing those experts there. So there's no reason not to come to Malaysia because Malaysia has most of these 3 categories. And that's why Canadian Solar chose as a #1 country in Asia is Malaysia. So from the Canadian Solar point of view, we are going to start from Malaysia, have some experience, and then we have planned to expand our business to Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia from next year. But the most important thing is that we have to have a success story in Malaysia with our partners, and that's what we are focusing these days. So in terms of the Malaysian market, let me start to explain this way. When you see the market trends, at the beginning in early 2000 to about 10 years, all the players were focusing on the utility scales. So the larger power plants, huge investment, maybe 100 megawatts, something like that, especially in China and the United States. But that era, it's almost gone. So these days, more and more players in this market is focusing on the other things. So I can say the market trend is coming from utility scales to the rooftop market. And the end, it's about the peer-to-peer. Some people call it decentralized or distributed energy supply. But this is a kind of trend what I see from Germany, United States, and Japan. And I'm very sure that Asian countries will start from utility scales, but sooner or later they will come to the rooftop market, the buildings, and then go to the peer-to-peer. That's distributed market, I can say. Very interesting thing is that Malaysian government knows, I think it seems to like that Malaysian government knows already everything. So there's LSS program, which is based on the utility scales, but as well at the same time, I find that there's another program that's called NEM, Net Energy Metering. This is quite interesting because that motivates a lot of building owners or a lot of players in this market that focusing on the rooftops. Good thing is that in Malaysia, it's easy to find a huge or large roofs because of the industry is going up. And that is the market that we are focusing on as a Canadian Solar point of view. So NEM, or we call it CNI, Commercial and Industrial Rooftop Market, it's very interesting, and we are supported by NEM 2.0 program. Unfortunately, this is going to be ended by end of this year, and the cap is 500 megawatt, and there are more than 300 megawatt already registered. So the remaining 200 megawatt or less than 200 megawatt, and lots of companies are rushing to meet that by end of this year. It's fine. And I'm very confident that Malaysian government already have such a plan for the extension of NEM or a similar kind of program from next year. It is not announced, but I'm very excited to wait for it because this is the kind of way or the direction of the Malaysian government to enlarge these opportunities. And I dare to forecast that Malaysia will come to peer-to-peer market too. So CNI is a kind of bridge market to peer-to-peer. And that's another huge market. So imagine there are a lot of industrial rooftops in Malaysia or the roof buildings. Just in some, the possibility, if you cover all the roofs in Malaysia, it's about 40 gigawatt sized. Of course, you cannot cover up everything, but I can say that the market possibility is quite huge. It's more than 10 gigawatt for next years. And that's what the Malaysian government see the opportunities. So instead of developing a big, huge land as a utility scale, but more focusing on using the building rooftops, which you can use every time, and the promotions are there from the government of Malaysia. So we actually we are quite active in Malaysian market in terms of the CNI, and we already have a kind of the biggest rooftop installation almost finished. So we are quite close to the COD, commercial operation date. So installation is almost done, and it's 5 megawatt. And so far as you know, this is the biggest installed solar power plant on the roof. Of course, the bigger ones will come next, but definitely we are going to, Canadian Solar is going to be one of the leading company in Malaysia. And not only the 5 megawatt project, that was the starting point, and we are discussing more pipelines, more than 40, 50 megawatt in this year. When we expect a certain growth from even in 2021 and 2022. So the market is increasing, and we are excited to join that. And the other thing we are quite happy about is that we have a really good partnership, and we are enhancing that. So it's very good to know that it's lovely to work with the local partners, especially Malaysian partners. It's very fantastic. So at the end, Canadian Solar, as a global leader with more than about 4 billion revenues in the world, and more than 20 countries we are involved in. And I hope Malaysia and my team will be one of those leading teams in Canadian solar as a success stories. And I hope the Malaysian market and a Canadian company in Malaysia will both make a new histories and share values and create new success stories in the future. Thank you very much. And I hope everybody be safe under COVID-19 and hope to meet face-to-face quite soon. Be safe and thank you very much. Bye-bye.